Long before Rome's mighty legions marched, long before the pharaohs built their towering pyramids, there existed a civilization, hidden deep within the fertile valleys of the Indus River. A society so advanced, so organized, that even modern engineers stand in awe of its perfection. Yet, it vanished, leaving behind no kings, no monuments, no written legacy. Only silent bricks buried beneath the sands of Pakistan and India. This is the story of that lost world, the Indus Valley Civilization, a tale of genius, mystery, and disappearance that continues to haunt archaeologists to this day. Part 1. The Accidental Discovery. It all began in 1921, not with an explorer or a scholar, but with a group of British engineers building a railway line near a small town called Harappa in present-day Pakistan. They were laying down stones to support the tracks when they noticed something peculiar. The bricks they were using were unusually uniform, well-baked, and ancient-looking. Curious, one engineer asked where they were coming from. The local workers replied, "From that old mound over there." That mound turned out to be no ordinary hill. When archaeologists led by Sir John Marshall and Daya Ramsani began excavating it, they unearthed something astonishing. Walls, streets, pottery, and seals from a time no one expected. These weren't random ruins. They were the remains of a highly planned city. Straight roads intersecting at perfect right angles, standardized brick sizes, sophisticated drainage systems, and granaries capable of feeding thousands. A year later, another excavation site, Mohenjo-Daro, meaning Mound of the Dead, revealed even greater wonders. Multi-storied houses, public baths, and intricate underground sewer systems emerged from the earth. The findings were so advanced that some historians doubted their age. How could people living 4,500 years ago achieve such architectural perfection? Soon, the truth became undeniable. This was not an isolated settlement, but part of a vast, forgotten civilization, one that had flourished between 2600 BCE and 1900 BCE, stretching across the Indus River basin. The discovery shook the academic world. Until then, scholars believed that Egypt and Mesopotamia were the oldest centers of urban civilization. But the ruins of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro forced the world to rewrite history. The silent bricks of the Indus spoke of a people far ahead of their time, peaceful, organized, and mysteriously lost.
Part 2. The Heart of the Civilization. The Indus Valley Civilization, also known as the Harappan Civilization, stretched across what is now Pakistan, northwest India, and parts of Afghanistan. Covering over 1.25 million square kilometers, it was one of the largest ancient civilizations in the world, even larger than contemporary Egypt or Mesopotamia. At its heart stood two magnificent cities, Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro, connected by roads, rivers, and trade routes. But these were not the only ones. Archaeologists have found more than 1,500 settlements, each following a strikingly similar urban pattern. Whether large or small, every city was built with mathematical precision. Straight roads forming a perfect grid, neighborhoods divided into blocks, and houses made from standardized bricks of 1:2 to 4 proportion. Each home was remarkably advanced. Many had multiple rooms, private wells, and bathing areas connected to covered drains, the earliest evidence of a functioning sanitation system. Wastewater from houses flowed into a central sewer system that ran beneath the streets, covered with stone slabs. No other civilization of that time, not even Egypt, had achieved such hygiene and planning. The cities were divided into two main areas. The citadel, built on a raised platform, possibly housing important structures such as granaries, assembly halls, or temples, and the lower city, where most of the population lived, neatly organized with uniform houses, workshops, and public spaces. What makes the Indus cities so unique is their lack of ostentatious palaces, massive temples, or royal tombs. This absence suggests a society without extreme hierarchy or powerful kings. Instead, it appears the Indus people valued order, equality, and collective progress. Their planning reflected a civilization not focused on conquest, but on community, one that valued water, cleanliness, and balance with nature.
Part 3. The people and their daily life. The people of the Indus Valley lived simple yet sophisticated lives. They were farmers, artisans, traders, and sailors, practical, inventive, and deeply connected to their environment. Agriculture was the foundation of their prosperity. The fertile floodplains of the Indus River provided abundant crops: wheat, barley, peas, sesame, and cotton. In fact, the Indus people were the first in the world to cultivate cotton and weave it into cloth. Their farmers used wooden plows and domesticated animals like oxen, buffaloes, and elephants for labor and transport. Trade thrived across land and sea. Archaeologists found seashells from the Arabian coast and lapis lazuli from Afghanistan in Indus cities, proof of long-distance trade networks. Small, beautifully carved seals discovered in Mesopotamia bear Indus symbols, showing they traded with Sumerians across the Persian Gulf, nearly 2,500 miles away. Artisans worked with copper, bronze, gold, and terracotta. They crafted exquisite jewelry, pottery, and figurines. One of the most famous artifacts, the dancing girl of Mohenjo-Daro, is a small bronze statue showing a young woman in motion, her hand on her hip, wearing bangles up to her arm. This tiny sculpture captures a civilization's sense of rhythm, grace, and individuality. Socially, the Indus people seemed remarkably egalitarian. Their houses, though varied in size, were built with the same quality bricks. There's little evidence of powerful rulers or wars. Very few weapons have been found, suggesting a peaceful society focused on trade and coexistence. Their religion remains a mystery, but many artifacts suggest they worship nature, perhaps a mother goddess, animals like bulls and elephants, and sacred trees such as the peepal. Early forms of meditation or yogic postures appear on seals, hinting that spiritual practices resembling modern yoga might have originated here. Life in the Indus Valley was orderly, cultured, and surprisingly modern, until the silence began.
Part 4. The mystery of their language. One of the greatest puzzles of the Indus Valley Civilization is its writing system, a code that has resisted all attempts at translation. Thousands of seals and tablets bear short inscriptions of strange pictographs, animals, human figures, and abstract symbols carved with precision. This script, now known as the Indus script, was first discovered on seals used for trade and identification. The average inscription is very short, only about 5 to 6 characters, making it hard to analyze linguistically. Unlike the Rosetta Stone for Egyptian hieroglyphs, no bilingual text has ever been found to help decode the Indus writing. Some scholars believe it represented a Proto-Dravidian language, possibly linked to Tamil. Others argue it wasn't a full written language, but a system of symbols representing families, gods, or professions. Despite decades of research, no one has yet unlocked its meaning. Computer analysis, AI pattern recognition, and linguistic models have all been used, but the Indus symbols remain an unbroken mystery. Still, these tiny carvings speak volumes. They show the Indus people valued communication, identity, and record-keeping. Their seals, featuring the famous unicorn symbol, bulls, elephants, and tigers, were likely used in trade and administration. Each seal was a miniature masterpiece, combining art, symbolism, and function. The fact that such a complex writing system existed at all suggests an organized bureaucracy, perhaps even local governance. Yet the complete silence of their written words adds a haunting layer to their legacy, an entire civilization that spoke to the world, yet remains unheard.
Part 5. Economy and Trade Networks. The economy of the Indus Valley Civilization was dynamic, interconnected, and surprisingly global for its time. Agriculture, handicrafts, and long-distance trade formed its foundation. The fertile plains of the Indus provided abundant resources. Surplus crops supported a dense urban population and allowed specialization. Some people farmed, others became potters, metalworkers, or traders. Evidence from seals and weights suggest a standardized system of measurement was used. Cube-shaped stone weights of fixed ratios, ensuring fairness in trade. The Indus people traded across the subcontinent and beyond. Archaeological findings show their goods reached Mesopotamia, Oman, Bahrain, and Iran. Items like carnelian beads, ivory, and cotton cloth from the Indus have been discovered in Sumerian cities, while Mesopotamian texts mention a distant land called Meluha, believed to be the Indus region. Ports such as Lothal and modern-day Gujarat show advanced maritime engineering. Its massive dockyard, perfectly designed to control tidal flow, is considered the oldest known in the world. Through Lothal, the Indus people likely sent goods via the Arabian Sea to the Persian Gulf. Their craftsmanship was admired everywhere, from fine pottery with black geometric patterns to bronze tools and jewelry. Indus artisans combined beauty with precision. Small terracotta toys found in ruins suggest a playful side of life. Carts, animals, and whistles made for children, proving this was not just a civilization of trade and construction, but also of human warmth. Their economy reflected stability, not ruled by conquest, but cooperation. They built wealth not through war, but through work, trust, and exchange. It was perhaps humanity's first example of peaceful prosperity.
Part 6. The Social Order and Urban Life. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Indus Valley Civilization is its mysterious social order. Unlike ancient Egypt or Mesopotamia, there is no evidence of kings, armies, or large palaces. The absence of grand monuments or statues of rulers suggests that this civilization might have functioned without a central monarchy. Instead, archaeologists believe that the Indus people practiced a form of collective governance, perhaps city councils or assemblies of elders who managed trade, urban planning, and law. The level of order seen in city layouts and public infrastructure could not have existed without effective organization. This hints at a society built on discipline, cooperation, and civic responsibility rather than domination and fear. Class divisions were minimal. While some houses were larger, most shared similar designs and access to amenities like wells and drainage. Even artisans and laborers lived in planned neighborhoods, proof that social inequality was not extreme. The cities themselves were alive with activity. The streets, wide and straight, bustled with traders carrying spices, metal goods, and textiles. Children likely played with clay toys, miniature carts, spinning tops, and animal figurines. Women might have gathered in courtyards, weaving cotton or shaping pottery, while men worked in workshops or the fields beyond the city walls. Cleanliness was a central value. The Great Bath of Mohenjo-Daro, a massive, watertight tank built with baked bricks, is believed to have been used for ritual bathing or community gatherings. Its structure shows remarkable engineering skill, with carefully fitted bricks, a sophisticated drainage system, and steps descending into the pool. Even today, the sense of order and equality that defined the Indus cities feels astonishingly modern. It reminds us that civilization does not begin with war or conquest, but with community, planning, and shared purpose.
Part 7. Religion and Beliefs. The religion of the Indus Valley remains one of its most mysterious features. Unlike Egypt's towering temples or Mesopotamia's ziggurats, the Indus cities left behind no massive shrines or statues of gods. Yet, scattered among the ruins, archaeologists have found clues, tiny figurines, seals, and motifs that offer glimpses into their spiritual world. Many of these artifacts suggest that people worship natural forces and fertility symbols. One of the most common figures is the Mother Goddess, depicted with wide hips and adorned jewelry, a possible symbol of fertility, abundance, and life. Animals too held sacred importance, especially the bull, which symbolized strength and vitality. Several seals show a horned figure seated in a yogic posture, surrounded by animals. Scholars refer to this figure as Proto-Shiva, or Pashupati, meaning Lord of Animals. Some historians believe this might be an early representation of the Hindu god Shiva, suggesting deep cultural continuity across millennia. Trees in nature played a central role in their spirituality. The peepal, sacred fig tree, appears repeatedly in art, often associated with divine power or protection. Fire altars discovered in sites like Kalibangan hint that ritual offerings might have been part of their daily life. What's most intriguing is how peaceful their religion seems. There's no evidence of human sacrifices, no temples of domination. Instead, the Indus people appeared to worship life, nature, and balance, reflecting a deep respect for the world around them. Their spirituality wasn't about fear of gods, it was about harmony with creation.
Part 8. Decline and Theories of Collapse. Around 1900 BCE, the great cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro began to decline. Streets once bustling with traders grew silent, granaries emptied. The once flourishing civilization faded away, slowly, almost imperceptibly, leaving behind one of the greatest mysteries in human history. What caused the collapse of the Indus Valley Civilization? Historians have debated this question for decades, and while no single theory explains everything, several possibilities have emerged. Environmental change. The most accepted theory points to climate and river shifts. The Indus River and its tributaries, especially the Ghaggar Hakra, are believed to have changed course or dried up due to tectonic activity. Without water, agriculture failed, and cities dependent on irrigation collapsed. Flooding and natural disasters. Evidence from Mohenjo-Daro shows layers of silt, proof of repeated flooding. The same river that gave life might have also destroyed it. Over time, the burden of rebuilding after each flood could have weakened the civilization's stability. Urban overcrowding and resource stress. As populations grew, maintaining sanitation and food supply became difficult. Declining trade and deforestation for bricks might have led to ecological exhaustion, an early example of urban collapse caused by overuse of resources. Aryan invasion theory. Earlier scholars suggested that Aryan invaders from Central Asia might have conquered the Indus people. However, modern evidence doesn't strongly support this. There are no clear signs of mass warfare or destruction. The decline seems more environmental than violent. Whatever the cause, by 1300 BCE, the great cities were abandoned. The people moved eastward, settling near the Ganges River, and forming new cultures that would later evolve into Vedic civilization, laying the foundations of ancient India. The silence of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro stands as a haunting reminder of how nature, not war, often writes the final chapter of human history.
Part 9. Rediscovery and Modern Excavations. For over 3,000 years, the world forgot the Indus people. Their cities lay buried under layers of dust and sand, unknown and unnamed. Even in ancient Indian texts, no mention of Harappa or Mohenjo-Daro survived. It was as if this civilization had been erased from collective memory. Then came the early 20th century. British archaeologists and Indian scholars, while expanding railway lines and conducting digs for the Archaeological Survey of India, began uncovering strange artifacts, pottery, seals, and uniform bricks. When Sir John Marshall announced the discovery in 1924, the world was stunned. The Indus Valley Civilization was not only real, it was older and more advanced than most known at the time. Since then, hundreds of sites have been excavated, from Rocky Hari in India to Lothal, Dholavira, and Mohenjo-Daro. Each one adds a new piece to the puzzle. Advanced dockyards, water reservoirs, and town planning so complex that modern engineers still marvel at it. Today, satellite imaging and 3D mapping help researchers trace ancient river courses and city layouts. Yet the biggest mystery, their language, remains unsolved. Every seal found is like a whisper from the past, waiting for someone to finally listen. The rediscovery of the Indus civilization reshaped our understanding of human history, proving that advanced urban life existed in South Asia long before most Western civilizations even began.
Part 10. Legacy and Lessons for the Future. Though the Indus Valley Civilization disappeared thousands of years ago, its legacy continues to shape the world today. From their cities, we learned the principles of urban planning, hygiene, and civic organization. Modern drainage systems still follow the same logic they mastered millennia ago. Their focus on cleanliness, equality, and sustainable living reflect ideals that humanity still struggles to achieve. Spiritually, the Indus people may have inspired later Indian religions. Echoes of their symbols appear in Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism. The yogic posture of the Pashupati seal resembles the meditative asanas of modern yoga, connecting the ancient past to the spiritual present. But perhaps the greatest lesson from the Indus Valley is humility. Here was a civilization that built cities without kings, walls, or wars, yet achieved harmony, prosperity, and beauty. And when nature changed, they didn't fight. They adapted, moved, and transformed. Their story reminds us that progress does not always mean power, and greatness is not measured by monuments, but by balance. As archaeologists continue to dig, new discoveries will emerge, and maybe one day, someone will finally read the language of the Indus and hear their true voice. Until then, the silent cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro stand as timeless guardians of a lost world, whispering to us through the dust of ages. Civilization is not what you conquer, it is what you build together.